Good Thursday morning, East Tennessee. We got a lot to cover. It's a Thursday morning last I checked, and we've got some flood watches. You say, come on, I hardly got any rain. Who's under a flood watch? Well, our friends in Kentucky, southeast Kentucky, are under flood watches in 2 o'clock today. If you're traveling there, some slow-moving thunderstorms may, in fact, affect some creeks and streams. Runoff may affect low-lying and flood-prone locations in southeast Kentucky primarily. But there is going to be some rain that moves into our region as well, but it may not be as pronounced as it would be to the north. So if you're traveling on I-75, just a heads up, they are under a flood watch. Now you can see from the Ultimate Doppler radar, we got some showers here. In fact, I'm going to go back there real quickly because I kind of flew by that map, but I want to show you the bigger picture too. Showers and storms coming down from the Bowling Green area, affecting areas in north parts of Nashville into Davidson County, but we close back in. There are some showers right along the border there of Kentucky and Tennessee. So we've got some showers from Monticello back toward Corbin to start the morning. Maybe a hit or miss shower for you if you're traveling in that direction, but it will be affecting Jamestown and parts of Scott County probably first as it comes down from that north and west direction. So keeping an eye on that. The Ultimate Doppler radar presented by A1 Fincham Heating and Cooling. They are focused on customer satisfaction. They won't quit until you're happy. Check them out at a1fincham.com. I have their phone number at the top of this Facebook post. But most of the rain, you can see some of those areas in red are producing some thunder, so we will see that continue to affect us in parts, but most of it's going to be northwest of Knox County today. There is some wet weather across parts of the south and east, but most of it's over maybe southern Florida and in parts of the Gulf of Mexico. Well, whether you're a walker or maybe you're a hiker this fall season, maybe you're climbing up the hills, or maybe you're just sitting on the park bench enjoying the fall foliage, this is the time I'm going to help bring you up to speed on where we are, not only locally but around the country. I thought this was interesting to find that there are some areas in the U.S. that have already reached some of their brilliant high color, and that would be the Rockies and in parts of the Great Lakes. We head up toward Denver, at least west of Denver, parts of Wyoming, also seeing some brilliant color. If you happen to be hopping on a plane this day or perhaps this week, I'm looking at areas northeast of Minneapolis into parts of Wisconsin. Beautiful fall color now coming into life here. And into parts of the yellow and northeast New England, they also are dealing with some low color, but it's beginning to transpire pretty quickly. But special thanks to Explore Fall for some of the data here. And you'll notice that back home, we have some color, but it wouldn't be what you'd call the best days of fall. That still lies ahead of us in the month of October, if not early November. Now, next week, how do you like this? This is a forecast for the fall color. You notice how quickly it changes for those of you that might be up towards, say, the Rockies. They're approaching peak. So areas around Salt Lake City, west of Denver, even parts of California may in fact have quite a bit of color next week. So if you're planning that, and should start to see more color in New England by the time we hit the middle of next week. So this is the area we'll be watching. I still think we'll see more color here gradually, but it may not necessarily reach the same levels that some of our northeast neighbors and far western neighbors will be dealing with. But the average fall color, I've shown this before, and I'm going to come back and check on you because I'm on Facebook and YouTube this morning. But there are some areas in dark blue in the Rockies that they typically see their peak in late September, which is really this week. And then areas average for the early October, early mid-October for much of New England. We could usually wait until early November. It could be after Halloween for Knoxville proper to reach its peak. Average years here in 1991, 2020. So just something to think about. Certainly the Rockies and certainly the Smokies will typically see it around the time we take on Alabama during that third week of October for some beautiful fall color. Good morning to you. I did a lot of fall color because I wanted you to cover it. A lot of people, what are you going to cover as fall colors? So here it was. I wanted to put it out there, but I'm also going to recap some interesting summers, and that's coming up here in a moment, plus my Tennessee, South Carolina game forecast. That's coming up here in a mere moment. If you're on YouTube, let me know. I got 3 people on here watching. I've been expanding, been growing nicely on YouTube, and if you haven't found me there, please do. Marilyn says, good morning, Thursday morning. Marilyn Bell, we got a great shower yesterday. Was it enough? Hopefully. I mean, it was maybe tide you over. I did see a note from Wanda Poe in Newport. She said, I got nothing. Now, maybe that changed last night, but she said, I got nothing. So some people had some rain. Some had a little. Some maybe had more than others. But good morning, says Melissa Sills. Everyone, have a wonderful day. She's got her 2 cups of coffee. Love that. Hi there, Melissa. The wind, she says, with that little storm yesterday brought down some leaves. We had a gust at the airport around 4:30 of 33 miles per hour. I keep good notes. Yes, 33 miles per hour was the peak gust yesterday, and we picked up 7 inches of rain at McGee-Tyson. So some had more, some had less, but certainly the more will be focused around southeast Kentucky today, thanks in part to that flood watch and this slow-moving system. Now, the last part on the leaves I want to mention, if we are dry, and many of us have been, it can mute the colors. Notice the color scheme. If we have a dry pattern heading through the next couple of weeks, it can have an impact on how much of that really is brilliant color or whether it's kind of a dud. But if it's wet, the leaf color change is typically on time. It tends to be more vibrant. If it's really warm, which it's been, it can also mute some of the colors. So it may not be, based on your preference, the best fall color ever, or perhaps not. But you like the cool, crisp mornings. That certainly helps. Cooler temperatures, seasonably warm days, but cool, crisp nights play a big role in the fall color. Visibility right now is reduced in some spots. I'm looking at Athens down to 1 mile. And some areas up to the far north may have just some cloud cover, reducing visibility. But here's the future rainfall for the day today. This takes us through 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock here on Thursday. And you'll notice we pick up, what, a drop here, drop there in the valley. But once you get past Oak Ridge, now you're talking more than a tenth. La Follette could easily pick up 1/3 of an inch. Oneida, Jamestown, a 1/2 inch to an inch. So it's really going to be focused on the northwest areas where this front is situated, and it's trying to move into drier air. It's trying to move in this direction, and it's not holding together. It's so dry at the lower levels that it will take a while for some of that rain to get here. Athens and Tellico Plains may be receiving nothing between now and 5 o'clock. That's very possible because as we head into Friday, I left some spots of rain. You'll see some of the numbers move a little bit. It tries to bring in a little spoke of energy with the passing front. But by midday Friday, we should be pretty much done with any type of rain as it starts to really dry out this weekend. A moisture deficit continues to grow from Decatur to Kingston to Clinton, over 2 inches in the hole that we have to dig out of. And I don't see a lot of promise beyond today and spots of rain tomorrow. I don't see a whole lot of hope. So, I mean, as far as the short term, we're just going to have to hunker down and know that dry weather is in the forecast. In Jamestown, Fentress County, also exceedingly dry. And this dryness continues to expand in orange from Nashville to Jackson across much of the Volunteer state here on a Thursday. So that's the moisture deficit. Let me get you, again, Knoxville rain, typically we see 3.5. This question invariably comes up, how much rain have we really had? Only 0.42 now. Only less than a 1/2 inch for the whole month. Now, if we get maybe a few drops today, maybe we could bring it up to a 1/2 inch. That would be generous, but we would still be 3 inches in the hole for this month, and that's pretty dry. We've had 4 of the 9 months above average starting in January, so it does ebb and flow. But the black numbers represent the actual rainfall we've had this year. Looking at the temperatures, these are your current readings. I'm looking at Crossville, and they're around 58, but Knoxville's at 62 this morning. How cool are you this morning? 65 in Oak Ridge, and I've got 61 there in Rockwood, and Sevierville also at 61 degrees. Good morning once again. Just say hi. Carrie says good morning. She's got her sunshine and coffee cup. L.B. Johnson, hello, good morning. Glad to have you here. And Danny's saying go Vols. I got your forecast, Danny. I know you'll probably be there in spirit. If not, you're probably physically there at the South Carolina game. And if you are, make sure you root for the Vols. Again, we're talking about Go Big Orange. That forecast is coming up in just a few slides. But I do want to talk about temperatures in a way that you have not seen in probably a very long time, if at all. That's a bold statement. Yes, it is. I'm Captain Accurate. I make bold statements. But notice this. Temperatures around the state, 10-degree difference from Knoxville to Memphis right now. It is 72. Follow the red arrows. They're bringing up a south wind in Memphis, so they're 10 degrees warmer, while Johnson City is only 55 degrees this morning. Big difference from east to west here in Tennessee. But let me get to the other things that I found interesting. I wanted to do some research. How many 90-degree days do you think we've had? And would you describe this summer as the hottest ever? Because everybody has that superlative. Remember from high school, you got the yearbook? He's the most likely to ... This was the ... the worst. I don't know. Maybe you thought this summer was grand. Maybe you thought it was really hot. Because everybody talks about the heat. But did you know we had 77 days at 90 back in 2010? That was the year I moved here. Oh, yeah. I came here in 2010. I remember that summer very well. 2011, we had 69 days. Well, what's average? Average is 34. We averaged 34. But it ebbs and flows just like the tide. Look at 2013. We only had 11. And you know what accounted for that? We had lots of rain. Lots of rain in 2013. I remember that. Was only 11. And the least we've ever had was 5 back in 1910. Wow, you did your research. Yeah, I did. Thanks to our friends at National Weather Service Morristown, that data is available. But 15 days was 2014. Then it shot back up to 76 in 2016, and the most ever was from the Dust Bowl days of the 1930s. 78 days in 1936. So you say, wait a minute, there's some missing years here, Aldridge. This is 2010 to 2019. What was last summer? What was this summer? Answer, 18. We had 18 days in 2023. So they're kind of, I mean, it varies. Last summer we had 41 days. Everybody has their own litmus test. It's kind of like art, right? When you see a painting on the wall, someone says that's genius, and someone says I don't see anything. I mean, maybe you have that opinion about this summer. Was this summer pleasing to you? It was humid. I'll grant you that. But as far as the hot weather days, only 18 of 90-degree days, the average is 34. So I just wanted to recap a little bit of summer, as I had put a lot of emphasis on fall foliage at the top of this Facebook and YouTube Live. Looking at dew points, we're in the low 60s. It's still maybe a tad more humid than it was days ago, but it's nothing extreme like it was earlier this summer. 61 dew point in Morristown. Will this humidity change? Well, naturally, if we have some rain, it's going to expand. Memphis, Jackson, Nashville, very sticky. Also into southeast Kentucky by 5 o'clock this afternoon. And maybe to a lesser degree for the Smokies and foothills. As that humidity retreats, we start some really dry air heading into Friday. And there's no humidity here on Saturday. It's game day. Woohoo! 5 o'clock, right? The game's at 7:30. I know, that's coming up here. But just nothing to talk about in terms of humidity going down to right through this weekend. Things will not likely change dramatically much at all. Wind speeds are 0 to 5 in most cases right now, and that's going to be about 3 to 8 for much of the afternoon as it comes up out of the southwest. We're looking at the clouds. The sun will be up closer to 7:30 this morning, and it's starting to get cloudier north and west, up towards, say, Scott County, McCreary County, and into Monticello and Wayne County, Kentucky. So all these showers are going to try to move into some drier air, and in some cases, poof. It won't be a whole lot compared to yesterday. I think we'll get less rain today than we got yesterday. Now, that could be the exception. If you're in Stearns or if you're in Whitley City, you might get a pretty fair share because you're under a flood watch. But I'm speaking specifically to East Tennessee and the Valley, not a whole lot today. I left a 40% chance. So high temperature, about 82 today for Knoxville, Maryville, 81 Oak Ridge, in the mid-70s for Oneida today, 78 Crossville, 77 in La Follette, and about 77 for Greenville this afternoon. I got another note from Wanda Poe. She says the high 80 is too hot with the humidity. Come back fall. She's ready for fall. She says summer's not for her. And thank you, Wanda, for that input. And then Bob Alford says, good morning, David. Glad to have Bob here. And if you're on YouTube, be the first to leave me a comment. Ooh, I see Felicia, Crafty Adventures on YouTube. She says, good morning. Look forward to the weekend and no humidity. And are there any other events? Felicia, let me know. You're usually very good in keeping me in tune with some events that might be occurring in South Knoxville. So Felicia, one of my premium members on Facebook, but she's also on the platform of YouTube this morning. Sunrise and sunset today. This is helpful because it's still dark. When's the sun going to come up? Not till 7:28, just like yesterday, but we lost a minute on the sunset. Now it's going down at 7:25, or 7:24. Sunset's now at 7:24. It's hard to keep track, but these days are, in fact, getting significantly shorter. Let me get you out the door for the bus stop. Sunrise at 7:28. As the kids head to school, they will not need an umbrella in most cases, unless you're up toward the Tennessee-Kentucky line. 66 at 10 should rise to about 77 for pickup in the hours of, say, 2 to 3, and it looks pretty good for that. Maybe a few hit-or-miss showers. South Carolina, go Big Orange against Tennessee. This is at Neyland, of course, we know. It's 7:30. It's actually televised. On the SEC network again, I'm expecting mostly clear skies. I've been posting a kickoff temperature in the mid-70s. That has not changed. In fact, we should end this game in the mid-60s. The mid-60s. I might need a jacket, especially if you're seated, right? You're not moving. You're like, 66 kind of cool. Maybe a sweater, maybe a long-sleeve shirt would suffice. Maybe, but that's just one of you. I'll let you know. Gamecocks coming to town. Big matchup, obviously, with the SEC. Now, the Tropics, got to bring you up to speed here at 6:54. We have Philippe. Do you see how far away Philippe is? And it looks like this may be probably one of the last slides we'll see of Philippe. Watch what he just starts to peter out. His name is not Peter. His name is Philippe, but he's just going to Philippe out. There he is. He's just now a tropical depression by this weekend and may just kind of sit and spin, hardly nameable beyond this weekend. But there could be a new storm, a new lady in town. Her name may be Rina, R-I-N-A, and Rina has a 90% chance of forming here within the next 7 days from the National Hurricane Center. This is their outlook. So just to bring you up to speed on the names, we got Sean, we got Tammy, and we got Vince and Whitney. And if we exhaust all those names, we have an alternative list to go to. But at least Rina will be the next named storm. So it's 6:55. We got a rain chance today, about a 40% chance. I got spotty rain tomorrow, 20% chance, and then that's it. Then it's like it's a clearance sale. We're getting rid of all the rain out of the forecast as we head into the weekend and beyond. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I hope you'll do so. I've got 4 people. Ooh, I love this. 4 people now. I see people watch this. I'm noticing the views on this come in not live, but they come in later in the day. But awesome. Awesome. Felicia is on here. But if you're watching on YouTube, let me know if you prefer that platform, because I'm just trying to expand my reach for Captain Accurate Weather. All right, currently at 6:56, it is 62 degrees. We have a dew point of 61. And the winds just are not moving this morning. As we noted, the winds did kick up yesterday thanks to some of those thunderstorms. But precipitation chance today, 40%. Chance on Friday, 20%. And then it's goose eggs Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Valley Planner, did you know the normal high today is 79 and the normal high tomorrow is 78? With the days getting shorter, it gets harder and harder to get out of the 70s. But today, I think we'll be around 82. So I think we'll make it into the low 80s this afternoon. Storm Prediction Center, not a whole lot to see here. In fact, we've got general thunderstorms in the lightest green, which is the only thing on the screen here. But if you come back into Knoxville, there's the chance for some thunder. But the interesting thing to see through the lens of the Storm Prediction Center is they put risk for thunder in Knoxville, but not Maryville. It's where they drew the line. But this is where they put the areas in green might have some thunderstorm. Maybe you're absent of any rain altogether if you're in, say, Wallen or Townsend or perhaps even maybe into Gatlinburg. But we'll keep an eye on that. Severe risk for tomorrow, focused up toward Minneapolis, St. Cloud, and Sioux Falls, South Dakota for some isolated severe storms. Just not a whole lot to see here. And Saturday, well, we just mentioned, there's just beautiful weather on Saturday, and chance of thunder stays well out of Tennessee's way as it moves down toward Florida. All right, so our future cast looks like this. Got a warm front, we're moving right toward Huntington, Charleston, West Virginia. By noontime, some of those storms try to make it toward the city of Knoxville, but they kind of fall apart. And then even this evening, there could be another wave, leftover showers this evening. I'm talking 7, 8 o'clock. Hey, I thought this rain was done. No, we'll still have a 40% chance tonight, 20% chance tomorrow. So if you don't get the showers in Knoxville during the day, there's still some hope because this slow-moving warm front is present. Now, here's 11 o'clock tonight. Case in point, we got some wet weather still moving and dancing around. You wake up tomorrow morning, it's highly spotty. I will say it's just spotty. Some of it's a little over-exaggerated, but by the time we hit Saturday, it's just not a factor. Just not a factor whatsoever on Saturday. But I want to zoom in on the futurecast because now that it is 6:58, I want to get to the forecast thereafter. Here's the futurecast for the rain that's coming down from the north and west. And see how vigorous it is in red, just north of Oneida and maybe around Jamestown. That's 9:30. Watch it come down toward La Follette. So it is pretty impressive, especially north of Knox County. But that's 12 noon. Does it hold together? That's the question. There's hardly clouds in Maryville. So it has to move into some drier air. Will it hold together? Ooh, see what I mean? It was like watching the Energizer Bunny lose its energy. It's like, doo-doo-doo. Maybe that's Pac-Man. But anyway, you lose the energy at 4 o'clock, and you're in Maryville going, where's this rain I was expecting? It's just not a whole lot. It left a 40% chance of rain today. And tonight there could be some kick-up moisture, as we saw on the last slide. But there'll be spots of rain tomorrow. There's one at 7 a.m. on Friday. Temperatures in the low 60s. Midday, we're at 74 tomorrow. And by the time we hit, say, 2:30, 3:30 or so, there might still be some spots of rain on Friday, just not a whole lot to write home about. And then it's off to the dry races we go heading into Saturday. So here's your forecast. It's now 6:59. I'm finishing right up on time. Clouds, and probably plenty of them, but with some hazy sun too. Showers and storms. Winds about 3 to 8 miles per hour picking up. Southwest and variable. Now today, if you're in the 70s, good chance you're in the northern plateau or the plateau. Say La Follette, 77. Crossville, 78. About 82 for Kingston, Maryville, and Tellico Plains. Today, expecting highs again in the 90s. Do you know they're so hot? It's like summer did not let go of West Tennessee. 93 in Memphis for today. They were in the 90s yesterday, so very hot weather to the tune of about 10 degrees if you're traveling in that direction. Tonight we're down to 60, some leftover storms. Hopefully they don't surprise you, but they're still in the forecast. Clouds, partly to mostly, with some patches of fog overnight tonight, as it's now low temperatures, about 58 for Middlesboro, Bell County, 56 Jonesville, 58 Morristown, White Pine, Talbot, as well as, say, Russellville. 60 degrees for Maryville, Alcoa, around Wallen, 60 degrees, 58 Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, and 55 for Crossville for your low temperature tomorrow with some patches of fog. All right, here's your Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville, East Tennessee at 7 o'clock straight up, and 82 on Friday, mid-80s for Saturday, and mid-80s for the foreseeable future. Wow. I thought fall was here. Well, it is in theory, but it's not actually showing up in the forecast, at least right now. But again, October, when is October? October is Sunday. So Sunday, the first day of October, will be in the mid-80s. A couple of years ago, we had a string of mid-90s to start October. I think it was maybe 2019. I'm guessing I'll have to go back and look, but it wasn't that many years ago. We've had some very hot days in October, but this is all things relative. This is not 90s. This is mid-80s to start the new month, heading into, I guess, Oktoberfest. If you're on the call, I just want to say good morning to you again. Felicia's on here and on Facebook. I'll pop back over here real quickly, and I see Fred. He says the Fall Heritage Festival in Townsend is this weekend. Thank you, Fred. That's a good plug. I like that. Everybody likes to get out and do something, and if you're not at the game, maybe you want to go here. Maybe you're going to do both. But the Fall Heritage Festival in Townsend, thank you, Fred, for sharing that. And I got a couple of notes from Wanda, her daughter, named Tammy, but she's hoping there's no Tammy storm. Yeah, that's always weird or awkward, especially if it's a nasty storm and they go, hey, you know, nobody wants to be remembered for that because of tropical storm names or hurricane names, but it may be too early to know for sure about Tammy. Anyway, my name is David Aldridge. Some people call me Captain Accurate. It's not easy being accurate, so weather doesn't surprise you. We'll see you here next time. Take care.